A singles market that's on fire, supply and demand issues for singles, as well as some inflation creeping around the corner. We have a lot to talk about. Fallout from Wizards of the Coast continues to happen, but it brings along a whole set of new problems. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel today. Big shout out to all the wonderful people hitting that subscribe button and joining my channel on my journey up to 16,000 subscribers. Guys, you're amazing. Thanks for being here. To my regular viewers who are tuning into my content each and every day, who keep the notifications on to let them know my content is out. Amazing. Thanks again. And of course, to all the amazing patrons out there who support this channel each and every day. Can't wait to see you guys on the weekends. We have another giveaway wheel coming up. Hope you're all going to make it there. 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll have a blast on the live stream as well. Guys, there's a lot to go over today. I know the beginning of this will seem like a joke, but it's not. Do you know what happens when you don't open enough sealed product, but Wizards intended you to? See, it's not a joke, but there is an answer. There's a backup. The singles market's doing so well. Players are building decks and getting back out to LGSs, playing with their friends at kitchen tables. But there is a problem in the singles market that is starting to show, and that is the short supply of certain cards. When the players are not opening enough and Wizards intended on a card kind of being hard to get, and you can't find it, like a Sheoldred the Apocalypse, you'll notice that price is creeping up far higher than it would normally be at this stage of its life. It's great that it's a playable card, but if people were opening tens of thousands of boxes more, there'd be a lot more stock available. Sure, there are some for sale on TCG Player, but the local markets, you'll notice the prices are stacked up because when they want to get certain cards in, they raise their buy lists. When they raise the buy list to try to attract players to sell the cards to them, it causes that LGS to charge more for the card. This is the little conundrum we find ourselves in right now. It's not anybody's fault other than Wizards of the Coast. I'll be honest, I'm going to blame them entirely because I can't find anyone else to blame right now. It's not the player who wants the card. It's not the store trying to sell the card. It's a supply and demand issue, and that's strictly in the hands of Wizards of the Coast because they've overpriced something that we refuse to pay for. So maybe it is our fault. Maybe we're just being too price sensitive. You know what I'm saying? I was going to drink this coffee. I'm going to drink it. It's a Saturday. You guys know what it's like. Pardon me, guys. Got to wet the whistle. This is a Hot 10 video, by the way. This is the week where we go through at the end and show you the hottest selling cards in Magic, and that's why we're here today. But I had to mention this stuff because it is showing up more. I'm noticing buy lists, the wish lists that people are asking for certain cards. It's not cheap end stuff. It's rares and mythics that are getting harder to get. Even certain secret layer cards people are seeking out. Guys, this isn't going to be a painless endeavor as we go through all this. And you add in that stores' costs have gone up, but people aren't buying the boxes, means there's a little bit of inflation being added onto your cards. It's probably across the board. It's probably very small, but it is there. I know a lot of stores that charge an extra like 50 cents or $1 a card, just a smidgen above. And that's because of the fact they got higher shipping costs from their local postal units. They've got more gas and driving things to get these things around, so they've had to charge little bits of extra. How long will it be until this all calms down? Who knows? Who really knows? Nobody. No crystal balls. No clairvoyance. It is what it is. But be aware of it before you dive in, because Wizards of the Coast could take this stuff and look at it saying, hey, that card's really being jacked up in price. And they're not correlating the fact that people didn't open the boxes. And they'll think that's the next card to reprint. They're just taking raw data and shoving it into a machine to get their answers. Crazy stuff, but it could happen. So a card that shoots up to 15, 20 bucks in value, because it really doesn't have organic growth, there's just enough players wanting it, and there wasn't enough openings to make it that readily available to keep the price suppressed. Funny stuff going on out there. Can't wait to see what you guys say. Now let's take a journey. We're going to start at the hottest selling cards in Magic. We're going from number 10 to number 1. For anything non-reserve list, this is where you find it each week, where I can track the cards. Let's find out what the hottest selling cards were together, and let me know in the comments section afterwards what you see going on out there. It's important. Let's get the party started. Chaucasa's Welcome from the Brothers War is number 10 this week with 202 sales. Now, When you look at cards like this from the Brothers War, it's going to have a great utility to it. Players are going to enjoy it, but you're going to notice in the Hot 10 this week, guys, there are some strange cards that made the list. Want to go over these things and let you know what people are buying. That's why these are the hottest selling cards I could find. It gets kind of crazy. Keep on watching. Let's see where we go here. That was number 10. Number 9 this week is Chromatic Lantern. And again, that's the schematic version from Brothers War. I mean, this thing's bottoming me out at like $3.72 US, around $5 Canadian. That's what makes a card like this desirable. It's playable in so many formats, and this has just killed the price now to the point where it's just going to be a regular card for people to grab. Very inexpensive, and it really augments out Commander decks. Gives them that extra kick and power they need, because it's nice to have all your lands controlled that can tap for any color mana. Pardon me. And Wizards is going along with 5-color stuff nowadays, so we'll see where this all leads us. Now, number 8. Nissa, Who Shakes the World. War of the Spark. 409 sales this week. Market price is $5.09. I think with the whole Phyrexia All Will Be One, caused a little bit of a surge in the sales. This kind of card is fun. I remember it well from the War of the Spark. I didn't have it in my pre-release packs, but I did see it getting played. Being able to turn lands into creatures and of course pumping them up is always a good thing. I'm curious to see what people are thinking about with this card. If you have an idea, please put it in the comments section. Let me know what I'm missing out on. 409 sales though. Now number 7, Platinum Angel. That's the retro frame. 593 sales because let's face it, it's $2.75 US. That's like $4 Canadian. This thing is still a 4/4 for 7. And remember, we've talked about it. So many ways now of getting these kind of artifacts snuck onto the battlefield super fast. I mean, you can use a metal worker for this stuff, right? It's crazy. You can't lose the game, and your opponents can't win the game. Kind of crazy. If you can keep this kind of creature alive, it's a lot of fun. There's so many ways of killing them nowadays, of course, but it's still late game. Something like this hitting the battlefield as a bomb, hilarious. Swiftwood Boots, still holding on here. 926 sales this week, and it's number 6. Now, this is another retro frame artifact that a lot of players are driving themselves to, saying, hey, I need this for like every commander deck. I might as well buy it. At that price, pardon me again, guys, I can see why people are really diving into a card like this and seeking it out. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at number 5. That is the Brotherhood's End. That is 1,382 sales this week. When you look at the market price of $4.64 US, it is not a very expensive card to get, but its game effects can be felt across the board. This is a fun card because you get to choose one and do some serious damage to people around you. Love this card. Let's go ahead and take a look at the number 4 card. That is the Haywire Might from the Brothers War. This little bad boy of comedy has a lot of fun. He could hang out with my nachos and cheese. He could be there on a Tuesday hanging out with me saying, hey, what's going on? When you look at these cards, you can see them all in the backdrop too, right? When they start rising out. It's a 1/1 for 1. When it dies, you gain 2 life, and you can sack it to exile a non-creature artifact or a non-creature enchantment. And that is something that cannot be underestimated any point in the game. And there's so many ways of recursion and bringing these things back. It's awesome. Number 3, a surprise here. The Prince of Krug Urza. I did mention this card a few times. 1,546 sales. This has a lot of fun factor to it because you can really start recycling things. Ramping up mana is not impossible. And this guy uses 6 generic mana to create a copy, a token that's a copy of a target artifact, except it's a 1/1 and it's a soldier, okay? Which means it actually comes in as a 3/3 at the minimum because he gives all artifact creature you control +2/+2. When you look at a card like this, guys, remember how powerful things like this can be. He's easily killed. He's only a 2/3. But if he gets into the battlefield, if he starts messing you up, you will know it. When this guy creates copies of Portal to Phyrexia, like I've done numerous times now, people start hating on you and they want this guy dead. And I like using with Sarah, Paragon, to bring cards back, to actually get them back onto the battlefield as well. A lot of fun can be had with that card. Now the number 2 card, Mishra, claimed by Gix. 1,968 sales this week. Some of these cards have had a real spike in the last little while as the price starts to dip down. Cards like this, though, if they continue to be bought at the level we're talking about, that whole inflation, supply, and demand issue is going to be a problem. These weren't as numerous as people thought they would be. It's kind of like Shoulder. They're just not as often. It looks like Wizards almost is forcing artificial scarcity onto us, but it's a great card. The Phyrexian Dragon Engine is super cheap to get, and you make that big 9/9 beastie flip card meld. There's a lot of fun to be had with cards like this. Where they play in the future of the game, I don't know. They're still easily killed off, but there is a big fun factor to having that thing hit the board and be in a game state where you're just messing people. Now, the number one card, guys, the one you've waited to see is Urza Lord Protector this week. 2,306 sales. The market price is $27.77. The foil is $37.97. Quite a disparity in price. Again, not as common as people thought he would be. When you mix this with the Urza Might Stone, Weak Stone, and you get the cool, massive Urza Planeswalker, he is a game-changing entity if he stays alive. But he's so easily killed, I don't consider him a major threat. If I see somebody who has a Meek Stone, Might Stone, or this Urza card on the battlefield, I assume they're trying to meld it together. I always keep a kill spell around that I will not waste, because I know that card could come out and just change everything up. The fact it's a 2/4 for 3 is also just so powerful, and lowering the casting cost has players buying it even if they're not trying to do the meld. They are trying to get this guy in their deck to lower the casting costs of cards. And that's where you find yourselves. This was the hot 10, the hottest cards I could follow. The sales are picking up. I can see it. The low-end stuff you saw there with 200-300 sales, it's never usually that low. But that's where we find ourselves right now. Those cards, people just don't care right now. And there's a whole bunch of cards that fell within that range. 180, 190 copies. I stopped counting at a certain point. But these higher up ones were definitely the solid runners who were the hottest selling cards. And that's where we find ourselves right now. And I'll be curious to see how this situation plays itself out when we don't have copies available. When Brothers War gets forgotten, because Phyrexia all will be one, will push into the market. And players will start looking for the Elesh Norn and start looking for the Praetors to build their new decks. You know, a lot of flash and jazz stuff happens when a new set comes out, and it makes people kind of forget. So if you're one of those players who can stick around, always wanting to get yourself an Urza or a Mishra, just hang in there. Wait another 120 days. You'll probably get your opportunity. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for hanging on the channel. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. Can't wait to read everything later, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for another video. I'll see you guys then. Hey guys, a big shout out and thank you to all the fantastic patrons on my channel who make this thing happen, who make it be here every day. That's the patrons making this content available to all the people out there. Thanks again, everyone. Welcome back to the end of the video. Thanks for being here, everyone. Yeah, it's kind of those crazy times. You don't know what's going to happen, but we are definitely getting closer to some strange stuff. Some shenanigans are going to happen in the secondary market. I guess this is like Happy New Year's Eve to everyone. This is a Saturday video. You guys are probably chilling out, watching the Saturday morning cartoons. The A-Team is on the Cartoon Network, and you're having a good time. Maybe some old 80s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters, Thundercats. Come on. Silverhawks, G.I. Joe, Transformers. I mean, there's got to be something. I feel like watching cartoons now. I'll see you guys later.